What's up, guys? I'm with James Sprague today. Dude, thanks for joining me. This has been a wild ride just to get to this point where we get to press the record button. Man, I can't wait to see what energy flows out of this.
We're so ready. We're so ready. You know what, Micah? Like, we got it down. Only 15 minutes to get here. We had a couple malfunctions, and, it means the world didn't want us to podcast, but we told the world, hey, we're here today to make it happen.
Dude, I love your energy, man. That's something I was, like any good podcaster or podcast host, you stalk your guests on Instagram. It's just something that you do, right? And, look, man, I was watching your videos and I was watching your lives and I was sitting on the couch with my wife. She was like, who are you watching? And why is he so positive? Dude, like, I love the energy. Where do you get that from?
Thank you so much. First off, I have to say I get it from my dad. If anyone knows my dad, Pat Sprague, I'm here in his office full of wild arts. He is my motivator. He's the guy who got me involved with CrossFit back 6 years ago. And to say that I wasn't the same person, I definitely have changed a lot in these past 6 years since I found CrossFit. I think before I found CrossFit, I was kind of shy, introverted. It definitely was one of those things that helped me find true confidence. And I give all the credit to my dad for making me step into a gym and be uncomfortable. And, just being around my crazy friends, I actually hang out with a lot of people that are more energetic and more crazy than I am. So I think I kind of rise to that level. You are who you hang out with.
Yeah.
So my dad and my crazy friends, I guess.
Dude, I can't imagine you shy. Like, what was shy James like?
Oh man. I was overweight. I was definitely insecure with who I was because, I never worked hard. I always ate junk food. I played sports growing up, but I never found something that I truly kind of cling to and was super passionate about. And, so shy me still was like crazy and did crazy things and had a smile on his face, but sometimes it wasn't genuine. Sometimes I faked it, but I think all my stuff now is like, I'm so lucky to be in a sport like this, and I'm so blessed to have the job that I have now, and I just look at every opportunity as like being grateful for it, and from that just comes pure happiness.
Dude, I mean, there's just a lot of people, and I mean that, it's obviously we live in a social media world, so you're constantly scrolling Instagram, you're constantly scrolling Facebook, whatever the case is, and quite frankly, it's just a highlight reel of everybody's lives, and ultimately, and I know I've gotten, or this has happened to me, where I get sucked into this, like, oh my gosh, whether it's, hey, so-and-so's just hit a PR, or so-and-so looks like this, or so-and-so just got a new dog, and it looks like, man, this dude or this gal is just killing it. I mean, are you impervious to that stuff, or are you just kind of like, like this is just not like, I know who I am, and so I don't listen to that noise. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think that when you let social media take over your head, it definitely doesn't lead you the right way. And it all depends on who you follow too, right? Obviously, we're in control of who we click the follow button to and who we decide to like posts. And I think, one of those things as a CrossFitter is it's like I'm on social media to share my story because I believe like I can inspire people with my story, and I can show like, hey, you can come from any background at any time and go rewrite your story anytime. And so for me, I try and stay away from all the negative stuff. I try and stay away from, the things that may just make me feel down or just not boost me up. I think social media for me is like being able to hype up my friends and showcase like all the hard work and failures. I think it's really strong when people show failures and show like, hey, I am struggling, and hey, I've been working on this, because in reality, you don't know what's going on in someone's head. Like, I think I was taught this in elementary school: just treat people the way you want to be treated, because you never know what's going on behind the scenes. And in social media, you are showing the scene, not the behind the scenes. And I think when people show that behind the scenes, it's really strong. So I don't let it get to me. I think that I have a really strong foundation here with all my friends and all the friends I made through CrossFit, and that's what hypes me up, is just having amazing people around me and knowing that if I have a bad day, that I get a new day tomorrow. I get to wake up and try again next time.
I'm curious. Do you think negativity can be helpful, like just playing like devil's advocate?
I do. I think that negativity is definitely necessary for reflection. When we reflect, and if you're always at a high, like, I think that it wouldn't make the highs as special. For me personally, like, I was going through school and business and full-time training, October through February, and I tried to overload my plate so much where I ran
Mm,
myself over and I didn't feel like me. And I think that the negativity I started feeling, I started getting stressed, I started feeling like not the
mm,
James I wanted to be. And I think that the negativity allowed me to
yeah.
and the stress allowed me to see like, hey man, you're stressing yourself out, you're filling yourself up with too much, and it allowed me to make change. So negativity is an opportunity to make change, in my opinion.
Like, where does this like self-awareness come from? I mean, you just
Mhm.
described like going through and I guess we can get into this in
Mhm.
terms of you're in school, right? So,
Yeah.
okay, so, or maybe
Mhm.
have been. Like, where does
Yeah,
that
yeah,
come from?
yeah.
Because you just described, hey, I was in school, I was trying to do this business, I was trying to train as a full-time, CrossFit Games
Mhm.
athlete, and it wasn't
Mhm.
meshing, so my radar was off. Like, where does that come from? I'm fascinated by people's ability to have
Yeah.
self-awareness at any age, but
Yep.
especially like teens and
Mhm.
young 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think it's all the people I surround myself with. My dad has always been a really positive influence, and he's always one of those guys that no matter what happens, he finds the bright side in it. So I think being in his house for 19 years now, and it's been a great 19 years. I'm definitely ready to move on, and I love my parents so much. I'm definitely ready to like go venture out and try new things. But being in a corner with good people and having a good influence around me has allowed me to see light in all
Mm,
situations and
yeah.
obviously like experience. Like you're not going to be able to bounce back from like the situation I was describing without going through it. Like you need to
Mm,
experience those
mm,
things for yourself, not just hear about it. But so I'm actually glad that negative things come up in my life. I'm glad that I was kind of like borderline depressed back in middle school and that I was overweight because it allowed me to see like, hey, this is what I want to change. And so background, every negative interaction that I've had has kind of
mm,
developed my character to now. And everyone like everyone that just met me from West Coast Classics probably like, oh, this guy's just always up. And like that's who I am now, but definitely wasn't
mm,
who I was earlier. And it's just because I found my light and I found my confidence, and that was through the negative stuff. So it's
mm.
really interesting you bring that up because I think those triumphs and those hardships like really build character. And if you're able to look at those things in the right way, you're just gonna come out such a stronger person. Like what I'm not gonna say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but
All right,
like
Kelly
kind of that in
Clarkson.
the sense. Oh yeah, oh yeah, you know it. I can sing for you guys if you want here on the podcast. I actually sang at Dallin's wedding 2 months ago. He called me up. He's like, "Man, people are getting bored. I need you to sing, man." So went on and sang a full freaking Circles by Post Malone, and it went well. I didn't have many voice cracks. They cut me off 30 seconds before the finale, and I was like, "Oh, what?" But hey, we got her done.
So I want to go back to something you said in middle school. You were
hmm
depressed. Why do you think that was?
Um, I tried to be someone I wasn't. I
Mm,
I really tried to fit in with a squad that middle school is all about drama. I
mm,
think that, and I feel for kids in that era, and I really try any sixth through eighth grade kid. I know that like that was definitely a tough time, and when I talk to any of my other friends, they agree like that was some of the toughest years. You're developing, you're going through puberty, all your emotions are everywhere, and I tried to be someone I wasn't. So like my advice to any kid that age, like I
mm,
think it's 10 through 14, is just be yourself and find something you love doing and invest in that, and really just find people that make you feel good. I had friends that made me feel happy, but then I always tried to chase that popularity, and I could admit to that.
mm.
And now that I look back at it, I'm like, popularity is nothing. Like it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
middle school, I thought it was everything, and I'm like, oh, you need to be able to sit at that lunch table. You need to like be in this section of the lockers. You need to go do this with this squad after school. And I'm like, I tried to just make my schedule based off what other people were doing rather than what I truly wanted deep down. And
Mm,
that was just like chasing material things. And in eighth grade, I made a change. I changed schools, and I actually like went to do something for myself because I had other friends at this school, and I felt like it would have been a good option for me. And from there, that's when I started CrossFit. So like eighth grade is when everything kind of just felt like, oh wow, my life is picking up and things
hmm
feel good. And I think a lot of kids in middle school as well, like just don't know what they want and feel like they need to know. And even at my age now, at 19, like you don't need to know what you want to do. Like you have years ahead, and it's one of those things like you have so long to live.
Yeah.
So why rush anything? Like today, I wanted to work out, but it's only been a week since the West Coast Classic, and I'm like, okay, man, you're in the gym. It's tempting, but you need to give your body a rest. You got 16 years of this individual career. Like,
Yeah.
calm down.
Mm,
Yeah.
man,
Mm-hmm.
that's some powerful stuff, right? Because um, it's like, in a way, it's the tyranny of the urgent, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's the tyranny of the now. I think it's really hard to have perspective in moments, right? And I think perspective comes through experience. Perspective doesn't
Mm-hmm.
come just because, well, hold on, let me rewind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perspective comes through evaluated experience, because
Mm-hmm.
if it just, I caught myself there, because if it just came through
I
experience,
like
there
that.
would be a lot of 50-year-olds that would be the wisest people ever. But
Exactly.
we
So
both
true.
know those 50-year-olds that have made the same mistake again and again. So I would argue that it's
Rotate.
right. Yeah. So I would argue that
Mm-hmm.
it's really through evaluated experience. So it's interesting to hear someone like yourself that's kind of gone
Mm-hmm.
through some of that, and not just have gone through it just for the sake of going through it, but going through it to
Yeah.
realize this is what it's producing in me.
Mm-hmm. And definitely there have been times where I look at a negative situation and I just like I kind of dwell on it. Like for instance, back in my 2017 first CrossFit Games, I got fourth place, which was when I look at that now, I'm like that's amazing. Like it was your first
Yeah.
year and you didn't know what you were doing and when I was in that situation, I was so angry. I was in tears after the competition.
Really?
Like man, you had so much more and you let yourself down, you let your family down, and I just looked at all the bad things instead of like, oh, I had 3 event wins, and like I didn't look at any of the positives, and I think that mindset now, like from my competition this weekend, like I proved to myself that no matter how bad a situation gets, I can
Mm.
overcome that and I can stay positive, and that's why I really like this weekend, even though it didn't go in my
Mm.
favor, I'm proud of the way I kind of responded to the adversity with 3 events specifically, which we can talk about later.
Yeah.
But there was 3 where I just was like, wow, the odds just aren't in your favor.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, and you have 2 choices: either keep your head up and be a good example to all others, or dwell on something that's not going to matter in 1 week from today.
Interesting. So I want to get there, but I want to rewind just a
Yeah,
second. So
yeah,
you started CrossFit when you were, I guess, 13. Is that 8th grade,
yeah,
roughly? Okay.
yep.
So 13. You made it to the games. Was it 2 years later or 3 years later?
It was actually 7 months in.
S-
About, yeah. And I think back then
Interesting.
the sport obviously was super competitive. Don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
sure.
Like that was the 3rd year they've done teenagers. And I qualified in like 2nd place and I felt like I was super close, excuse me. Super close to 1st place. That kill cliff's getting to me. I was super close to 1st in the qualifier, and then I put high expectations on myself, like, oh man, like this is yours, and that's why I was so frustrated at the games. But it's so different
Mhm.
competing online versus in person. Every variable is different. Everything's out of your
Yeah.
control in person, and so the more you have experience with going to those in person comps, the better you get at doing them.
Well, and two, you've seen those people. I've seen
Yeah.
those people that are very professional athletes in our sport that perennially do super well in the qualifiers, super well in the open, and are outside of that are irrelevant.
Yep.
I mean, let's just. I mean, I don't.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm
Agreed.
not trying to be mean or discredit them, but it's like at the
Yeah.
same time, that's simply a price of admission to our sport, not necessarily the crown jewel.
Exactly.
So it's interesting to hear you say that. So
Yeah.
okay, so you go to the games. Was that the year that you placed 4th?
Yeah, that was 2017, and then I had 2 more years in the teenage
Uh-huh.
area, and 2018 I actually had to get a knee
Oh my
surgery,
gosh!
and that totally took me out. I had bone cement that glued my kneecap back together because it was like basically split in half. Pretty
How did
gross.
you do
And
that?
they told me I'd never be able to do CrossFit again, actually, and they said, "Hey man, like this probably isn't the sport for you. All the squatting, all the hinging, all the impact, like just is going to break your knee again and blah, blah, blah. And, I never listened to that, and I'm glad I didn't, because I started working with Active Life too.
Great company.
And I don't know if anyone who's listening to this is familiar with Active Life, but they helped me kind of align my body, make sure the correct muscles were engaged, and so I can have long-term success in this career.
Yeah.
Because, any teenager too that's listening to this, just know, like, the teenage years are so fun, and they mean so much to you in the moment. But like, if you're looking to have long-term success, like, be careful on your body and listen 100% of the time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So back up. Let's talk about this whole knee thing.
Yes.
So first of all,
sure.
you're, I don't know, like 14, 15, 16, somewhere right in there at that time. And you broke a knee? Like what, tell me what's going on.
I know. I make no sense. I've had very bad luck with knees. Actually, torn an MCL. I've broken up a ton of cartilage in my knee, and then split my kneecap in half. Had an ACL scare once. I've just had bad luck with them, and I don't know what it is. But it's not. I can tell you, it's not going to happen again, because I've been addressing it so much in my training. I tell people, like, when I'm in the gym for 4 hours to 5 hours a day, 2 to 3 of those hours are protective
prehab
on the knee.
Stuff.
Prehab, making sure, like, hey, I want this to be long term. I want my next 16 years to be completely healthy. And I would be lying if I told you, like, I'm 100% right now. But that's what I have an off season for, to invest in all that stuff. So knee got hurt by skiing.
Okay, so it was skiing. So it wasn't like an overused CrossFit thing. It was like skiing.
I skied and it hurt, and then I CrossFitted and it hurt more. So I heard it more through CrossFit, and that was also a lack of experience, not knowing when to stop. Yeah. And I still struggle with that today, and that's why I have coaches who are like, hey, James, like, you need to chill out. Like, my coach, Matt, and his sister actually are both my coaches.
Nice.
And,
okay.
So Matt Torres with Brute, and they know me so well, and they know that I'm just one of those guys that's like, oh man, I have trouble putting the bar down, and I have trouble taking rest. And I respect them so much, so I'm glad they can actually be aggressive and say, hey man, like, remember what you promised yourself. Like, if you want long-term success, listen to us. And so I highly respect my coaches, and I listen to what they say now. And I think that anyone that is serious about the sport, find a coach who wants for your best interest and knows what they're doing and has had success with other athletes and can explain the why behind what you're doing. There's a lot of coaches out there who just randomly assign programming, and you're like, oh, it may be fun, but is it beneficial and is it purposeful to what your intentions are? Is it getting you from point A to point B in a safe, successful, and efficient manner? That's kind of my knee story.
So obviously you're still, like you said, you're not you said you'd be lying if you said you're 100% or not 100%. So you're not really not 100% now, and you're still dealing with this stuff on and off, I would assume. And so is it you just manage it now? Like, is that just kind of, you've accepted, hey, I just have to manage this?
So basically, going into this season, I wasn't even going to compete. My coach, Nicole, my sister, said, so she said, hey, I don't think this is smart for you for your long-term growth.
Wow.
And that was one of those times I sat down and I weighed out the odds, and I said, hey, I feel like I can compete. My training was not ideal going into the Open, going into the West Coast, going into the quarterfinals, all the above. And so that's why I was so blessed to make it. Like, I was just so grateful that I qualified in that top 120, because, like, I hadn't done a squat snatch. I haven't done a pistol. I haven't done wall balls. I haven't done a ton of movements that put knee flexion, and all the movements that showed up in the quarters and the semis were all things I have not worked on. So I was like, oh, let's go. Adversity. Like, let's freaking rock it. You decided you wanted to do this, so showcase what you got. And, I'm proud that it still happened. Like, and I came out of the West Coast, like, learning so much without even training those movements. And so I'm pumped to see what I can do when I'm healthy fully and can train those movements that I might be weaker at, and just, like, invest in my potential. So really excited about the season and how it turned out. Obviously, I think that the leaderboard seeing 22nd, like, still sits weird in my heart, knowing the 3 events that were like, oh man, like, those could have been different. But I know, like, I'm more fired up than ever to do fitness this year. and just go compete more and get more experience. And I think me, Dallin, and Tudor all talked about this together, that, especially like myself, I can speak for myself, that I looked at all those dudes I was competing against before this comp as like, wow, they're so much better than me, and those are my idols. How will I ever be up against them, and how will I ever compete with them? And then throughout, as the confidence built throughout the weekend, and after reflecting, I think that now I see it as like those are your competitors now, and they're your home. Some of them are your home dogs. Like Sean Sweeney, that guy, he's such a goon. I feel like I'm him in kid version. Like he's like one of the most positive dudes there as well. There's so many good dudes at our comp, but that being said, it's like I feel like now I look at it as like I deserve to be there, and I prove to myself that I can go have good events and I can go make statements. Not just I'm there to take a last place. I'm there to punch my ticket next year, and I'm there to win next year, knowing that I'm going to be fully healthy and that I'll have zero excuses. Not that I had excuses this year, but the odds just weren't in my favor with my knees and not be able to train. And so I'm grateful I was able to go there, and I don't know if I still have my number on my arm. I don't, but I qualified in 29th, and I said anything better than 29th throughout that weekend is a win, because that's what you qualified in. So obviously super pumped beating that, but lots to work on.
So we're slowly getting to the West Coast Classic. I promise. We're just teasing these.
Yeah.
We're just teasing these guys so they have to listen to the whole podcast.
They're gonna know everything about me. If you get to the good stuff, you have to hear this
man.
Stuff.
To get to the jewel, you got to mine all the coal. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways.
Yes, sir.
So going back to the Open, you didn't want to do the Open. Understandably, you weren't 100%. You hadn't been really training because you're trying to get your knee. Got it.
Yep.
So you finished 539th in the Open.
This year, that was 2020. This year I finished, I think it was like 150th.
Okay, 150th. So that's like most people, that's like most regular people, that's like their lifetime achievement award. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, right. So, so clearly you're one fit dude. All right. So you finished 150th, right? As I said, okay, amazing. At that point, were you like, I'll just do it? Or was there like being the quarterfinals, or was it like, hey, I probably should throttle back? Or was it like, oh man, I'm in a position where like I did pretty well? Just curious, like what was running through your ears?
I just was doing them to get to the quarters and stay healthy throughout the Open, but I got my money workout on week 2, and I told myself like, hey, I need to do well on this. Like just for my like mental sake. Like I knew that workout could be a money shot, and I needed to be top 10. Actually, we went on a brute strength call with all the athletes, and Nick Fowler calls me up, and he's like, I have an athlete who wants to make a statement. And I was like, I wasn't ready for this, but he was like, make your statement, James. I was like, okay, I want to be top 10 in this workout. It was like the dumbbell snatches and the burpee box jumps, and just a peer motor workout. And those are the things I love most. Anything that's gritty, just like the ruck. I love anything that's gritty, and it's just gonna make you put your head down and work and suffer and see who comes out on top. Like not knowing what's going to happen. It's all mental tests, and that's what I love about CrossFit. It's
100%.
just who obviously is training the hardest, but who has a strong mentality, who's willing to suffer. And so that Open, I made it through, and then the quarters was like I knew top 120 was feasible, but it was going to be tough, and they ended up giving me 3 movements on my knees: heavy front squats, pistols, and wall balls that were things I just have not trained. And I made the most of it.
Well, yeah, I mean it. I mean, I know what all the regular people, were thinking. Oh my God, 180 something pistols, something like that, right? In that one workout. I'm sure the guy that's going, hey, I don't have any cartilage in my knees, is really going, oh my God, 180 pistols.
It was one of those things where I looked at it and I said, okay, let's get really warm. When I warm up really well, I don't feel nothing. I did that front squat, felt great. Did the pistols right after. I got all the really hard stuff out of the way on day 1. Yeah, and then I kind of felt the repercussions the next day, and like, oh man, I'm glad it's out of the way. I gave my best effort. And I think if we look back at the quarters, which was kind of in the past now, like seeing those front squat numbers, like I was pumped with my number of 333 pounds, or what I think it was, for 4 reps. And I was like, yeah, that's gonna be good. Looking at the leaderboard, 1,000th place.
Mm.
Whoa, where did that come from? So there was some strong studs. I think when you have that wide variety of athletes, you're gonna get those heavy hitters who are hitting those 400-pound plus easily, and so it was nuts to see that and know like, oh wow, you do have a long way to come, and pumped to work on that.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. Like seeing those 400 plus 4RMs were just dumb.
Dumb. There was 38 people over 400 pounds. I counted. I was like, in the CrossFit Games, there was only like 10. It was like 15 to 20 people over 400 for one rep. And
wow,
so, therefore,
perspective.
It does. Like those guys were just nuts. Like obviously, you're not seeing most of those 400 plus guys like at the games because they're just heavy hitters and strength. But like those guys, I actually asked a couple of my friends this. I want to hear your opinion. Would you rather in CrossFit have all the strength and no lung, or all the lung and no strength? Like literally, you're the weakest with all the lung, or the strongest with no lung?
I think that's an easy question because CrossFit is an endurance sport. It has been, and until the sport changes, I think it will be. So I think the answer is all the lung. But
gotcha. How about if you weren't a CrossFit athlete?
Then I just want to. At that point, I just want to look good naked, man.
Dude, I feel you, bro. I feel you. 100%. So sign up for Brooke Ence's program. It's like called the Naked Program, bro. She'll get you covered.
Like literally, I just want to take my shirt off at the pool. Super vain, and I understand this. It's okay. I want to take it out of the pool, and people go, "Damn!" Like I don't really care about anything else.
Yes, sir. There was a guy. I was on a hike with my boy Tudor here. He actually lives with me, and he's a brute athlete as well. And me and him were hiking, and there was this guy at the top, and he didn't speak very well English, and he comes up and he like starts looking at our abs, and he's like, how do I get those? And I was like, here, man, I'm a personal trainer. I got you, business opportunity. And I just told him, it's consistency, 100%. It's nutrition, it's a lot of things. You're not just going to do flutter kicks and sit-ups and expect to have an ab pop up randomly. But I remember the first day I got an ab back in 8th grade, I looked in the mirror and I started screaming, and I was like, Mom, like, you got to see this. And it was so minute, but I was just so pumped. Like, I worked for this. Like, this is my ab.
Oh, that's amazing.
Dude, yeah. Good times. Good times. Yeah, man.
Okay, so hey, you know what? That's why when you said you're like, hey, send me your question list, I was like, dude, I don't have no question list. We're
oh my God.
We're just going to talk, this right now, y'all. It's going to be a great conversation. And so, anyways, okay, back to the quarterfinals here. So you get through the quarterfinals, and I remember, I'm watching your Instagram story, and there's some controversy there. And I say controversy, not controversy in a bad way, but you're, for lack of a better term, you're on the bubble, right? So fill everybody in, kind of what happened in that situation, because at one point you didn't qualify, and then a couple of days later you had qualified. So what happened?
Yeah. So after redoing that snatch workout again, it was workout number 5. My first time was great. I qualified into day 3 I was 127th, and so that you had to be top 120, of course. And knowing that snatch workout, like, oh man, like power snatches, heavy power snatches, and I lack strength. Like, let's get after it. Just had that attitude of like, okay, you were dealt this, let's do what we can. And so I ended up redoing that workout with a very sore body on Sunday morning. And if I wouldn't have redone it, if I would have actually been 1 second slower on my redo, I would not have even had a chance. So 1 second. So I went from 3:05 to 2:52. If I would have been 2:53, this whole West Coast thing would have never happened. I would be in a totally different spot right now. So God said, hey man, like, there's a reason you're here. And so basically I qualified 121st. And when I saw that leaderboard, I knew like some people are going to go team and all that, but it set in like, wow, like that kind of freaking sucks. Like, what if people don't go team? And I started getting negative thoughts and all this. So I kind of just put my phone down and said like, let things happen and don't look. Called my coach. He's like, you did amazing, man, with the terms given. Like, let's just see what happens. And 3 people dropped down, so I ended up qualifying 118th and that took a couple days. So there was a couple days where I was like,
Yeah.
what do I do right now? Like, do I train? Do I just chill? Like, I didn't know what was gonna happen, and when that happened and I slid in, I think I called a million people and I was like, I need to go jump off a bridge. Like, I'm so happy. Like, not in a bad way. Like let's freaking
I
go.
love it.
Like, oh my gosh, like it's official. Oh, my score's validated, and from there I knew like,
Yeah.
okay, like it was a good thing you went through with this season and you didn't risk anything, and I knew that like I my boy Tudor was on the cusp too, so we went through the exact same thing, and I'm just knowing that I was that close this year, knowing how much
100%.
improvement I can make for the next year, like tells me like I'll never have to worry about the quarters. Hopefully again. Now it's going to be a semi focus. Like my focus was the quarters this year, just making it. Next year is going to be like making the games and being ready at semis. I was ready this year, but obviously like like things were in my favor, and but next year is like going to be a completely different story. So I'm excited to kind of make that comeback.
Like you're 19, right? You're okay. I mean, that's like ridiculous. And just like you said, it's like at 19 to be able to have the opportunity to go, hey, not that semis are a lock, but it's like, or excuse me, not that quarters are a lock, but hey, my focus now is peaking for a semi, not a quarter. I mean, dude, that's, I mean, like as you, I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking about perspective earlier, evaluated experience. That's what perspective, right? Like, dude, that's got to be a cool place to be, right? To be able to go, hey, I've earned the spot where I can now like focus on that. Like, that's awesome, dude.
Yep, exactly. So true, so true. And I really like this new format. We haven't brought that up. Like, I think it's very inclusive, and it really does find the people that deserve to move on to the next stage. And so CrossFit, I hope they keep this format because it's very cool. Besides the fact that you only have one chance to get to the games, like the past years, we've had so many different outlets, so many sanctioned events open. Yeah, but I think that my opinion is they'll probably add in a couple sanctionals too, where like they'll take the fittest or whatever.
Interesting.
And
I haven't heard that.
Up. But I think we can definitely see that. Yeah, I could see that happening where like they make a Wadapalooza and a Rogue Fitness and a Mayhem Classic, like not a semifinal, but a different sanctional, and they kind of combine everything they've had, just so it gives more opportunity throughout the season. Because people used to be able to peak whenever they wanted, and now it's like you have to peak at this certain time, and all the variables have to be in your favor at this certain time and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I haven't heard that perspective yet, but I think that's cool because I think Wadapalooza puts on the best event. I just think it is. Anyways, I think Loud and Live is killer. They're awesome. 100%. Yeah. And, obviously Rogue, from every athlete that has spoken about it, they all said, especially the way that they did the online deal last year, everyone said the same thing. It was the professionalism, the way that they did it, the way that they put it on, the way that they broadcast it from a viewership standpoint. I mean, it was top notch. So I'm with you. I think that would be freaking awesome if they included that.
I agree. So if they're going to keep growing the sport, they keep making changes based on the athlete's needs and how it's going to best suit us. Obviously, like they're working on the monetary part where, like a young guy like me who has didn't make the games, and if I was trying to live alone, I'm blessed to still live at my dad's house. And I think that basically it's really hard to make a career out of it, as we know, and everyone in CrossFit that's at a high level. And that's like a big reason also like the Instagram thing we talked about. Like, I think it's really cool to showcase your story and get some support from that because that's like an avenue.
Exactly.
Like it's a possible job, like to be an influencer. And I think that's becoming more and more of a thing now where you kind of have to be an influencer if you want to be.
Well, yeah, because it's like the money is, I mean, look, unless you're winning the games, the money isn't in the games. The money is in the sponsorships.
So true. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Matt Frazier, I think, still his CrossFit Games money is 1.5 mil plus from 5 years of winning. Still doesn't nearly close to match probably what he made in sponsorships. I mean,
especially a guy like that. I mean, he's
exactly.
picking and choosing what he wants,
Yeah.
Ram trucks and
nuts.
Gillette.
No, jealous. Dude, right. I saw Cole Sager just picked up like that Gillette too. I was like, half his Instagram posts are Gillette, and I'm like, damn, go off, man. That you made me want to buy some.
Joey Tatora, Dex Hopkins, and I were talking about a possible title sponsor, and I was like, "Look, man, CrossFit Games has Ram. I don't understand why we can't have Tesla." And right, and Dex was like, "Man, y'all too fancy. We just need some. We just need some Little Caesars pizzas and some Reese's cups."
That sounds exactly like him, bro. I couldn't get over his accent when I was there with him at West Coast. Me and him had the best time, man. This guy is like, again, I say, like, I think he's me, like, 10 years later. Like, he's so silly, so fit, like, good family man, just good to everyone. Like, I loved his energy. I vibed with it. Like, Brute only has good coaches. Agreed. I haven't met anyone that's part of Brute that's like not intelligent or not fun to be around. Like, everyone brings something different to the table. And these camps that they've had, like, I told Nick Fowler, I was like, man, we got to do more of these. Get more people here. Like, show them what this family's about. Like, the Brute family, I could never leave. It's too good. And my coach, Matt, has brought me places I'd never dreamed of. And so being part of Brute for me has been, like, I'd say it's 99% of my success. It's just this community.
It really is amazing, I think, when you feel, even though maybe you're not around those people every day, but you feel as if you're part of a bigger, as you put it, community, a family. And I think that's, I certainly feel the same way. And, I think it's, it's interesting to see all these training camps pop up, talking about communities. Yeah, wink, wink to the camera. So look, I'm sure you listened to it last week because your coach Matt Torres was on, and he obviously let the cat out of the bag that he's starting his teenage mutant turtle camp down there with all you psychos.
He's gonna think about it real quick.
Yeah, man. So like, are you? Obviously, you said you had a business, and like you're kind of back and forth to school. Like, are you going to take part of that, or are you still thinking about it, or? Yeah.
Oh, for the move. So the move to Florida, Naples, Florida, with Coach Matt. Me and Dallin were the people that were pushing for it the whole time because we want it more than anything. I think Dallin's one of my best friends, and we have developed our friendship through CrossFit. Now it's like outside of CrossFit too, but I was actually going to move to Utah in February to go live with him full time until he decided to put a ring on it with his wife.
Can't be a roommate.
And I was like, oh man, okay, can't move there now. I'm so happy for them. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, dang, I wanted to move so bad. So now that's actually a good thing because, that was God's way of saying, hey, we got something bigger than Utah. We're moving all the way from here to here. We're going from Washington to Florida.
And Florida's way better.
So I'm definitely 100% going. Oh, dude, I'm so pumped. Washington, don't get me wrong, served me so well. So many amazing memories here. And, I'll probably be back here at some point in my life. But, I think that everything is pointing to Florida. And the way the sport's going of having all your athletes together and in-person coaching. I mean, you see Comp Train, you see Think Tank, you see Mayhem, you see
Proven.
There's a couple others, and it's just they boost off each other, and it's not only for your athlete's success, but it's also just a cool experience and so much fun. We're not just going to be there for training. We're also, me and Dallin, also talking about collabing our businesses and getting some business involved with Matt. We have so many avenues we want to take this. We also want to possibly that what Matt was just talking about, getting us in this huge gym and kind of being the faces of the gym and helping kids and other people around with their fitness. Just so many avenues that come out of it. Me and Dallin are we just want to do programming at the beach.
I'll sign up for that.
We just want to sit with our computers, do programming at the beach.
So,
I got you.
I want to know. So for your business, you hinted at it. Do you do remote coaching? Are you an in-person PT? What's the deal?
Yeah. So I got my certification last summer, NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine. I've been training people for 3 years, and for me, it's just giving back what the sport of fitness has given me, showing people hey, you can use your body and be empowered and find true confidence through this movement thing. So I do predominantly online coaching, and I coach people from all around the world. I've had athletes from Russia, I've had athletes from South America, Africa, one Europe kid. It's been awesome, and so basically able to work with people around the world and kind of mold their craft. I work with a lot of people here in my gym. I'm actually in my dad's Allstate office here, right here. See that? See that Allstate? You're in good hands. Um, so his Allstate office is also a gym we built because we used to have a garage gym, and then we moved out of that house last summer. So we brought all that equipment here, and now I have a whole kind of setup to train people and makes people better in person. So yeah, I do both, but predominantly the online thing.
Is it is it like a CrossFit affiliate, or are you just like your own like deal? Like what is it?
We call it the House of Pain.
The House of
So it's
Pain.
not a yeah, it's not a CrossFit affiliate, but I think
Is
that
that sign on the front door?
Oh, dude, it is. If I could take my camera out right now, I would show you. We have a huge poster. Then I have my next gen program poster, which is my business name, the House of Pain. Everyone calls it the HOP because that's its abbreviations. So kind of our little gym space, and it's gonna be weird because my dad's actually probably gonna move too soon, and I've become really close to this place, and so I'm gonna take most of this equipment actually down with me to Florida, and put it somewhere there and put it to good use.
Oh my gosh! So, this is insane. You had a
Yeah.
just rewind.
Yeah.
You had a home gym, and you had enough equipment to basically fund a gym.
Yep. It's pretty sweet. So I'm blessed with the opportunity. I actually don't train clients that often in person because one of my things is making sure I don't run myself over. I talked about back in October to February, I just ran myself over, and training, like making money as a 19-year-old is awesome. I love being ahead, and I love saving, and I love investing in stocks and cryptocurrencies and whatnot, and learning so much about finance. But I realized that I have my whole life to work, and why should I run myself over right now in some of the best years of my life with just trying to go hustle to make money? Like, obviously, I need to have some things because I pay a lot for my programming and car and food and all that. But why go push for an extra couple bucks when you can go enjoy the moment? And are you going to remember work or fun memories with your friends more? So that was my kind of outlook with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that would disagree with that statement because
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I think one of the weirdest normalized things is work 5 days a week and rest 2. I think that we as humans need to take more time to do what we want, and obviously the system doesn't allow for that because people need to make an income for their families. But I think it's sad when I hear of a guy that's working 18 hours a day, 6 days a week, like that happens in places like China, and I'm whoa, dang, well, that's their whole lives. They don't sleep. They just basically get by at their whatever. It's a noodle stand or whatever is the story I read. This guy was just, it's my whole life. He's been doing it for 20 years and it's normal. So I'm very blessed to have the outlook. I am.
So do you guys have a date when you're going to move down to Naples and start this?
That's what, so I'm going down to Dowens this weekend actually to go help him with the last chance qualifier, and Matt will be there. So I'm going to make sure we pick Matt's brain to let him know, hey, we need to get stuff on the calendar because this is T-minus 7 months away. And so the goal is beginning so late January or beginning of February before the season starts, so we can kind of get comfortable, know our environment, and kind of understand what training is going to look like there. And so it's just going to be me, Dallin, Cole, Grease Aber, and Phil Toon. He's another one of Matt's athletes for in February or whenever we go there. And then Emma Carey will be joining us after she's done with high school. And then Tudor will be joining us after he's done with this year in college because he's full-time engineering and he's freaking hustling. Oh my gosh, this kid is so smart. It's ridiculous. When you have a conversation with him about anything school, he'll just blow your mind. So yeah, I think that when we get the whole squad there, it's going to be awesome. But obviously, when it's just me, Dallin, Cole, and Phil, we're going to make the most of it. And, oh, man, those boys are fit. It intimidates me, going there and be oh, maybe you're the weakest one going in, but we're going to come out stronger.
So Matt told me, obviously, all of you guys are super fit. He said, but
yeah, just
to be crude, Emma kicks y'all's ass.
Oh, dude, hands down. It's not even funny at this point. Like Michael, you don't even understand. People see her in that competition, and I can't even describe how well she's going to do at the games in my 1 month. Like I tell people, I'm like, dude, she has a chance to beat Tia, and people don't
Sure.
believe me. Like I know this is going to be
Yeah.
her first year on the big girl league, and that's a disadvantage, but. Just you wait. She is all business, man. Like it's crazy to watch. She actually works for me for next gen programming now. I hired her because she's so ambitious, and so she coaches 1 to 2 athletes for me online. And I'm like, and she's almost a better coach than I am too, and she barely has experience. And I'm like, girl, like you can do everything. Like it's nuts.
Yeah, I never forget. I heard a thing. I don't know. I think it might have been an interview that Dex had with her, and she starts talking about how she was trying to squash her weaknesses like at like 13 before she had a coach, and she would stay after the classes and like do these workouts that she created. And I was like, I know what I was thinking about at 13, and it wasn't about weaknesses.
Same, bro. Same. Not all. It's all about the girls then, bro.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Anyways, I didn't mean to get off topic there, but
no, you're good, man.
You're good. I just thought about that. Anyways, such an interesting story. Emma Carey, as we were talking about, for all of you listening, she's
hey, all 0 people right now.
Unbelievable. Okay, so let's get into you. Just following the timeline, you qualify into the West Coast Classic, and you said you qualified 20. Was it 6th or 9th?
I qualified, so 118th overall, 29th in the West Coast Classic, 29th out of 30. So there's one guy that was ranked below me, but I basically said you can only go up from here, right? Like,
so when you see the workouts come out, and they're all past either regional or games workouts, pretty famous workouts too. I mean, most people have either done them or heard of them. What were your first thoughts?
The first 4 that came out were all pure cardio workouts, basically. And I was like, let's keep this train rolling. Like, let's go. They were all different challenges. I found the one thing that I thought was weird, that there was 2 ladders, and they were both squat clean and squat snatch. And personally, like with my knees, I was like, no, like this freaking sucks. Programming-wise, like I thought it was the most well-rounded comp. Besides that one thing, like maybe it could have been a power clean or a power snatch, but I loved it. I made the most of it. I personally loved the chipper, the D-ball sprint, the thruster one. Like I was like, I can eat this up. Like let's go. Like this is awesome. And then that ruck, I was just like, okay, it's time to make your statement. Like I think everyone woke up before the ruck too, knowing like, okay, we're already in pain. Our quads are shot from all the squat snatch and all the thrusters. But like, and a ruck is predominantly quad. Anyone that's rucked like knows it's not running. It's not running.
Yes.
It's very different, especially when it gets heavy. Like that first mile, I came out knowing like that's a run. Everything else from there was not running. It was about trudging and being gritty. So very interesting. Very interesting. I was very pleased with the events. I thought they were awesome.
So day one of the events that I would like to highlight is the thruster rope climb. I never forget, I'm watching this go on, and there's these no reps like crazy happening. And as Joey Totoro says, there's happy judging. You know, look, I'm just curious. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are the sport needs to grow to make judging more consistent. There's always going to be judges who have different standards and look at things differently. If we paid those people, I think we'd see a lot different story. But until CrossFit can grow more and we get very consistent judging, there's always going to be mishaps. Like for me personally, I had my second rep of the second round of 2 rope climbs. I saw myself hit. I've been rewinding this video on my phone of me hitting this bar. I almost want to pull it up and show this podcast. Because
I would. So while you're looking for it, I'm gonna fill in some blanks for the folks listening, so they're on the same page with us. So you're doing a set of thrusters, and you're running back, and you're doing a set of legless, very important, rope climbs. And the standard is you have to hit the top beam or the top bar, the cross section. It's not the tip of the rope. And
Yep.
so I'm talking to Dex Hopkins, who was there doing some on-site coaching for the athletes, as we've referenced quite a few times.
Yep.
And he said as well, oh, absolutely, he touched that thing. And I'll be honest, I mean, I was watching it live, and I was watching it with my wife, and like, dude, I was like devastated for you. Like, I mean, obviously, like you and I have interacted, a few times over Instagram and stuff like that. So I didn't know you personally like I'm getting to now, but like I was just like I was pissed for you. I was like, like seriously, I was like, are you serious? Like I rewinded the YouTube feed, and I was like, he clearly touched it. So I'm just curious, kind of your thoughts, perspective.
Yeah. No, that's totally cool. My thoughts were, wow, like did this really just happen? I looked at the judge because I started running to my next bar because I felt it so clearly. So they said, hey, any part of your hand must touch, just try and make it clear. And I've watched so many other dudes get less clear than my rep, and they got reps, like they got counted. And so like here, I have a little angle here. Let's see if I can show it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and so when I would go through the video, like if
scrubbed
I scan that, when I scrub it, it shows my fingers actually bouncing off. So like if you go like this with your fingers, they ricochet, and so that proves that I hit it too. So I took that to the judging team, and I said, hey, like they said no outside videos. They said no outside videos allowed for what was it for dispute. And
so then how would you dispute it then?
They said it needed to be live. It needed to be shown on the camera that they had. And I'm like, you only show one athlete.
The one that's winning.
And
yeah,
so
duh.
And it was really frustrating because, here's the thing. Like, that event, like, it would have been a second place finish. I calculated how fast I was going and what I would have finished in. I would have finished like 4:55, which would have been right in between Cole and Dallin. So I wouldn't have beat Cole, but, like, would have been second place. And, like, when I think of the what ifs, like, that would have been an extra 90 points. And that would have put me in 10th place or 11th place throughout the weekend. So me knowing in my heart, like, that was a rep, and that if I would have finished how I thought it would have gone, like, I would have been much higher up, then, like, this weekend was really actually good in my opinion, because that's out of my control. Like, I can't control what a judge thinks. I can only control what I do. And so my opinion on that was, man, it sucked. I was still grateful that I got the floor time and I got experience, and now I can know, like, okay, be even more clear with your judge. I even went up to my judge before. I said, hey, some of these are going to get tough to see. I'm going to do my best, and I hold myself very accountable. You saw me on the handstand push-up event. When I got a no rep, I accept that. I know, like, in my heart, like, oh, dude, you failed that. Like that's on you, not on your judge. He deserves you get the no rep. But there I was like, man, like, that's the worst no rep I could have gotten to, because that second rope climb, you have nothing left. You are just yanking, and your biceps are just feeling terrible. So it was very frustrating. And actually, Cedric Lapointe had the same judge I had, and he got a bunch of BS no reps in my opinion too, and he ended up getting 30th in that event. Same exact judge I had. So it was very weird to see that same judge mess it up twice. Because I went back and I slow-moed all his reps too, and I didn't see one wrong one. He ended up doing like 38 thrusters in the round of 27 that all looked very clean. They looked fully extended. He looked like he was hitting depth. So it was really weird. I was like, whoa, this is odd.
Happy judges, man.
Dude, for sure. I don't dwell on it, though, because I know that, hey, like, you win some, you lose some, and had the same exact experience on the Triple G chipper. With my pistols. He actually told me to get on my rower after 30 pistols, and you're supposed to do 60. And I stood there for a second. I said, you want me to get on the rower? Like, do you know what you're doing, man? Like, what the frick? And so he had me advance every 10 reps instead of every 20. And I was just like, gosh, like, this is not up to par, like, at all. And so I actually took an extra 20 seconds advancing at the wrong times, having to walk back, having to argue with not argue, but, like, talk to him in the middle. So that was disappointing too. My pull-ups, I ended up doing chest to bars. You can see on the video of the live stream, I was doing chest to bars because he said I wasn't hitting my chin. When I looked at the thing, I was like, what else am I supposed to do? My feet were hitting half the reps too, so I think it's unfair for tall guys when they make the rack so short. So a lot of disadvantages. Like, like this weekend that I look at, I'm like, wow, I
Mm,
couldn't control that. But I'm really proud of how I faced that adversity and how I didn't let it get to me. And I just said, hey, that one's in the past. Like, let's go get this next one. I told Dex after every event, I'm like, this one's mine. Like, let's go. Like, this one is mine. I don't care what happened last time. Let's freaking go. It's a
mm.
reset. Hmm.
Wow. I didn't, I mean, I heard some
Yeah.
of the stories from Dex. I didn't hear all of that though.
Yeah, yeah. There was a couple more things too that I was like, oh man, this really sucks. But those were the two main things: the rope climb and the pistols. With that, two judges, and those two events were like my money makers too. So I was really disappointed that it happened there. But honestly, like I was just proud to make one statement in the ruck. Like even though like I didn't get the top one finish, I think people also see that video like me and Cole Sager at the end, be like, did James just give up? Dude, that was my absolute sprint. That was like me putting on zone 6. You have 5 zones. I say that was zone 6. I was like blacking out. I was sprinting as hard as I could. I turned on my push at 90 seconds before the finish, and that was my absolute all-out sprint. And with 60 pounds in 100-degree heat,
100%.
and with a veteran who's a football player and knows how to go on your butt, I was pumped. Like that finished that way. Obviously, like I think if I would have strategized it a little different, could have maybe had a different outcome. But I can't say that. I'm pumped. Top 3 finish, you can't be
Yeah.
mad with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you won that event at the games. Granted, it was the teenage division, but you still won, so it was a little bit lighter on the weight side, if I recall
Yep.
correctly.
Yep. Correct.
And so you end up in the desert
Yep.
running in 100+ degree heat,
Yep.
and with ultimately at the very end it was 60 pounds, right,
Yep.
on your back.
Yep.
And I mean, like, what? And maybe you're not. What are you thinking? That last like 50 meters coming into that tunnel, and you're like, and you see it, like you're like doing one of these, right? You're like looking behind,
Yep. Oh
um,
man.
and then you can tell Cole's run a few 40-yard dashes in his life.
Just a few. Just a few. He actually went to the same college that I'm at now, University of Washington. So he's a fellow dog. Call UW.
You dub.
Yeah, and he is such a good athlete. I told everyone like the fact he's beating Noah and
Yeah.
Sean and all these really good studs, and like Cole's always been a stellar athlete, but this is a new Cole we saw. Like this is a Cole we have not seen yet.
I
And
agree with you.
so yeah, he's obviously got that dad strength. He's been putting in hard work with comp
Yeah.
train. I would not be surprised to see him podium this year. I'm not
Really?
even kidding you. Yep. He's like his weightlifting is used to what took him out. Like you saw him in the snatch ladder, top 5, like
Yeah.
against a ton of guys with 300-pound snatches. Like, well, where did that come from? And the fact he had that much of an engine, like I think still at the games he would have run the ruck. Like that was just such an insane performance. He wasn't even in top 10 until the 3rd lap. He was out, and then he just started sneaking and picking people off. Nice and easy. Like, gosh, and you know it was crazy to see him finish too because at the finish line I had nothing left. Cole fell over. Everyone fell over besides my boy Tudor. Like I was like, Tudor, how are you okay right now? He was like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, what the frick? But basically, I think Cole is he's a really good face of CrossFit. He's such a good dude. He's so nice, and so it was an honor to battle it out with him. I think that also the fact that they had that pack to run with and boost off each other and kind of draft
Hmm.
and pace each other was important. When you're running a race alone, like you saw that guy who broke the 2-hour marathon
Yeah.
for Nike, he had pacers for every different section. He could not have done that alone.
Mm.
So I think that's a testament. Like I was alone the whole time in my own thoughts. I was thinking, man, like just don't let yourself down. You had a tough day yesterday. Like you're here to make a statement. I think Chris Hinshaw said on the live stream, like, hey, everyone wants to be walking right now. To say that's true is an understatement. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, you just wanted to walk so bad. And I thought that I had enough of a lead to walk at one point,
Really?
which, yeah, so I actually, in the 3rd lap, I had a 45-second lead. I was counting in my head. I was watching and counting and listening to my family yell at me. My brother's a huge runner. He runs a 420 miles, so he was obviously a nerd for this event. So I couldn't let him down, and so he was kind of giving me all the statistics as I ran by and whatnot. But you know, it was one of those things where the last lap is the most important.
Mm.
Like people were saying, like go out hot in the first lap, and I didn't feel like I went out hot, but I felt like I could have slowed down a little bit. Like my best mile is a 5:09, and I went out at a 6:15, 6:20, and so it felt like I had a lot more left in the tank. But my second and third one is where I really went crazy and didn't save enough for the fourth one. So strategy wise, I know that for next time, like if I ever get a ruck again, which definitely will come up, like it's a beautiful test. Maybe not with the environment we had where it was dry and you know like one water station throughout the whole thing, like. But I think we will see rucking continue to be implemented in competition. I think it's so brutal and so elegant and such a good test. So yeah, it was an honor to be on the film most of the time, and they said some really cool things, and that was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and not my body after, like my body, everyone after that event changed the weekend for them. Like it's just not one of those things you can recover from in a couple hours, not at all.
Well, it was interesting because Dex mentioned that you, after the first lap, that you maintained, and I'm asking you if it's true or if you know, negative splits. Is that accurate?
So the first lap I went out at 6:20. The second, third, and fourth got faster actually. So the second was my slowest out of the second, third, and fourth.
Right.
My first was
then you got faster. Yeah. That's insane.
So the fourth lap I actually ran way faster, which is this doesn't do justice to how quick that group of men, Cole, Sean, Brandon, and one other dude, I forgot who it was, but they ran so quick on that fourth lap, it wasn't even funny. I felt like I was being hunted. Like I just felt like, oh man, they're right there. And watching that last 2 minutes, they were 3 seconds behind me. And so they just were gaining energy off each other. Obviously they weren't alive, like, because it's your fourth lap, but it was definitely one of those things where I know, like, maybe you should stay in a group next time and boost off that. I learned.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, because obviously being hunted versus being the hunter, it's two different perspectives.
Oh.
So yeah, if you were to do it differently, you would rather be the hunter.
Yeah, and I think that the first lap there was this guy way in front of me that just went on balls out and then he died out. Like, and I think he ended up like getting 18th or something, and that like I think he like got caught up in the energy of the beginning and like no, he probably hadn't rucked before is what he hadn't done. Because that that the first lap doesn't mean jack like at all. Like it doesn't mean anything. You can do a 5-minute mile and be 2 minutes ahead, and then the next lap you're in last. Like it's just crazy. So rucking is definitely a strategy thing. I think with regular running, like if that would have just been a 6K run, like I think it would have been a much different story. I run a lot with no weight, and I think running's a strong suit for me. So I'm eager to I'll run, swim, run. Like I loved that event at the Games 2017. So much fun. And so yeah, I'm eager to see what happens next time that comes up. Definitely we'll try a little different strategy, but it was a very cool moment. Still wasn't the highlight of my comp, even though it was my best finish. That was not the highlight.
So then let's get to that. If that wasn't the highlight, what was the highlight of the comp?
Yeah. The highlight is going to sound so weird, but it was my last place finish in the handstands. Okay. I couldn't do one of those last year. 1 6-inch deficit strict.
Wow.
Just one. So the fact I was able to get 25 of those every rep for me was like a high. It was such a high, and I felt like the crowd just got me up each time. And so it was even though it was a last place finish, like it was probably my most proud performance, just because I know I've worked on those so hard, and another hard year's work, knowing what can happen with those. Like if I got 25 this year, let's go finish that workout next year. Like exactly. So yeah, that was definitely pretty cool. And getting another couple highlights were like getting under 245 for 2 snatches. That's my max. I've never hit over that in my life, just because I haven't been able to work on it with my knees. And then the cleans, like not feeling my knee on heavy cleans was a highlight. And overall, another highlight was just not worrying about my knees during the whole weekend. Like I just got to focus on competing, not like rehab or anything. And I think I led into this perfectly to where I didn't have to worry about pain and my inflammation was down. But yeah, so it was just such a good weekend full of learning and highs,
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's insane. You hit your 1RM 2 times.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
after
Thank you.
after having to have snatched quite a few reps.
Oh man, that workout hitting 265 for 2 in that workout is not hitting 265 for 2 fresh. Your grip is burnt, your legs are burnt, your lungs are burning. It's not the same.
Agreed.
Like that workout is like it was weird to see Tola just move through that. Like because I honestly didn't think he would do that well because he's not an athlete that's known for lungs. And when I tested that, I was like, man, this is killing my lungs. But also, it doesn't. He has a 340 snatch, so it's like lightweight
It's
to him.
crazy.
Lightweight, baby. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, it was all the events were so sick.
Man, that's insane. So there was this video. Obviously, I'm sure you saw it. They CrossFit, and you referenced it earlier. They CrossFit reposted on their page and said, "I think we could be a little bit more like James." And you.
That's sweet.
So okay, so you saw the video. Okay.
Oh yeah,
all right.
for sure.
So it's essentially you getting this no rep on a handstand push up, and you just were like, yep. What was happening there?
It was me finally having a good judge that I agreed with and understanding why I was getting no rep. And it was also the fact that I was, like I said, I was proud of each rep I got. So understanding like there was going to be some failures in there and there was going to be some no reps. And like I personally think that all those people out there that are judging us and volunteering, like they are there because they want to be there and they want to help us. And so I think it's amazing that those people are there, and I take time to thank each and every one of them for what they do for us. And I just didn't want my third and final day memory to be like, you got mad, get your head down. Like, why not remember it as like you gave your all and you were happy and you got some great energy from the crowd. Like that was awesome. Like last place finish, not in my heart. That was my favorite event, hands down.
So what's next for James Sprague?
Yeah, great question. What's next is taking a little bit more time off, just to let the body recuperate. Time off meaning go do outdoor stuff, hike, swim, bike, enjoy life, enjoy being a teenager still, 19, still a teen baby. And I would love to go do the Rogue Invitational. If I can get an invite or qualify there. I don't know when the qualifier is, so looking into that. But first priority is knees. So gonna talk to my coach from Active Life, Nicole, Matt's sister, and see what she thinks timeline wise for me. I'm thinking it might be a 3 to 5 month journey to get 100%. But come out next year a new James, like not like worrying about a strength event. Give me a lost place, like having confidence in those things and knowing like, wow, like you can go do well in those instead of like, let's just do damage control. I think what's also next for me is figure out Florida, because I know that us being together next year is going to be crucial for success, and it's going to make huge leaps in our athletic abilities for whoever decides to join us, and just keep living the dream, stay in the moment. I tell everyone like that worries about future things, and I do that too. Like, just stay in the moment, live now. Like, don't worry about it. Like, when it comes, it comes. But yeah, I'm very excited for what this career, where it's gonna go. I think that like just proving to myself this weekend, like that you can be out there and it's your time now. Like, it's go time. So next move is obviously big move is be at the games next year, and this whole season.
So you mentioned. And we're kind of ending where we started, which is a cool evolution.
Baby. Yeah.
One of the first things you said when we started talking about your knees was, hey, I got 16 years in this. All right. So 16 years come and go. What do you want your legacy to be like?
A guy who always enjoys the moment, like I just said, and wants to get to know you. I personally I just love getting to know people and hearing their stories and seeing what we can have in common and if I can help them with anything, and just love being a motivator. I think that this is why this job I started and this business I started brings me so much joy too, is like just bringing happiness to other people. It brings so much joy to me when I can help someone in their day. Like just little things too, like just always enjoy the moment. That's big mantra. I tell people, and like this is my mantra and my Instagram
Yeah.
bio is do it with a smile. Like anything, you just do it with a smile. So I just want to be remembered as a happy-go-lucky guy. Obviously, a force in the sport too. I want to be a force in the sport. I want to just keep living this dream of CrossFit and do it till I die. Honestly, I want to do this till I die. Maybe not in the competitive fashion, but like in my grave, I'll be clean and jerking. You know.
That's great, man. Well,
Yeah,
anything
man.
that you want to add before we jump off here, whether that's the business side where people can find you, or I mean anything, or whether you want to say
Yeah,
something, I'm good with
for
that too.
sure. For sure. Well, if people ever need anything programming wise, especially teens, I love to work with younger teens. You can hit up Next Gen Programming. I follow a lot of the same things Brute does too, and Brute is like amazing with what they do. And I just love working with young
Yeah,
individuals who are super driven and uh, like just personally like they're craft molded. I would love to work with Brute too. Like programming through them would be awesome. So you can find me at nextgenprogramming.net. That's my website. And then my Instagram is Spraguer with 4 R's. That's SPRAGUERRRR. And then let's see. If y'all ever need anything, you can always shoot in my DMs. I try and answer all those as best I possibly can. And yeah, just Micah, thank you so much for the privilege of being here, man. It's been awesome chatting it up with you and sharing my life story. And, we just made a dent in what my life story's been. So I'm excited to share more on later podcasts with you, man.
yeah, man, for sure. And that whole bit there about inspiring people, motivating people, man. I think that's like the
Yeah.
coolest thing is to see you on tape, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
To see you and then to get to speak to you, relatively in person, and to realize that you're really the same dude. And
Yeah.
I think saying someone is authentic, in my opinion, is one of the highest compliments I can give a person. Uh, because I think you're the same dude that's on the floor
Yeah.
encouraging people. And
Uh-oh, you cut out.
are you able to hear me?
Uh-oh. I heard same dude.
Okay.
I heard
All
same
right.
dude. And then
He's
you
just
cut out.
he's just making me say all these superlatives again.
I know I want the compliment twice, man. Give it to me. You're feeding me. You're feeding me, man.
No, but for real, man, I think you're the same dude on and off the floor, and I think that's cool. I think that's a super. Again, I think that's one of the highest compliments that anybody can give anyone is that, hey, you are who you say you are. For
Yeah.
what it's worth, I'm certainly, um, wishing you the best, hoping that you do get to the games, and
Yeah.
I guess it'll be 2022. But man, you got a bright future ahead for sure, and I'm looking forward to being able to watch it. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Micah, that means so much to me, man. I really appreciate that. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this. Is one last thing I want to
Please.
add. Like I wouldn't be able to do any of this without God's glory. And so I kind of I use my gifts to glorify God. That's Emma Carey's bio. She's the same way. I think she's very faith driven, and so
Mhm.
am I. And so is a lot of our Brute squad. And I think we do a lot of things through faith. And so I'm glad God gave me the gift to be able to do this. And obviously I worked for what I wanted. But a lot of this just because he said this is my path. So so blessed for the opportunity. And it's weird to me. I've been in it for 6 years, and I feel like I'm just getting started. So that's a good thing. It's a
Heck
good
yeah,
thing.
it is, man. Well, I'll
Yeah.
put your link in your Instagram link rather in the I guess description below if you guys listening
Yeah.
want to connect with James. He is really responsive. That's actually how James and I first met.
I hope we didn't bore y'all with my fat sixth grade stories or any of the crazy stuff there. But if y'all can relate with any of that, always hit me up too. It's not easy
Yeah,
going through struggles, and we need people to go through it. So that's one last thing I just want to put out there. Like always reach out if you need anything, and just keep living the dream, y'all.
100%. All right, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and
Oh, thank
thank
you, man. It was an
same,
honor.
man, and thank all of you that are listening.
Yeah.
And we will catch y'all on the flip side.